Okay, we're in Siman and Ches. Just to clarify one thing, I rushed a bit at the end, and Sif Zion, we'll just go over it. Sif Zion, of Shelech Baro Plei Amayim, a bird who hit the water. Im Shat Melok Mosoi Mimata Lamala. Someone pointed out to me it means that it means it's L'uma Samayim. He's swimming strongly upstream. That's what it is. Mata Lamala doesn't mean this position of him. It just means that he's you see him strongly swimming upstream. Ein Choshishin lo. Im Shat Mimala Lamata. If he's floating down Im Hiluch Hamayim, if he's floating downstream, Choshishin lo. It's Aruch B'dika, and you catch him, then we're Choshish that something happened. In Kodam L'Tevin or Kash Mahalchi Agav Hamayim, if he's B'Shavilo, if he's floating next to Tevin or Kash, or he's a Shat Machmas Atzma V'Ein Choshishin lo. That's considered he's able. It's not just like floating on the water, just so something happened, but it's considered he's able to use kash and things like that. Then it's not choshish for it. It shows that he has krichas. Ches dafku knafa v'devek b'shas seda. If you stuck his wings together b'shas seda, you took the wings behind and you stuck them together. Nechba im shnei knafa nechba, and he fell down or was thrown down. So if they're stuck to the piece of wood that they chopped him with, choshishin, they were choshish because he can't support himself, and maybe he got it's nefula. But tzarich b'dika, even though nidbak bo ela echad mehem, if only one of the wings is stuck to one of the wings, ein choshishin shuparech ma'ab knaf hasheni, and therefore he won't fall straight into the ground. Tes zcharim menachim zeh zeh v'naflu la'aretz choshishin lahem. If two animals, like that, two rams are fighting with each other, and the rams charge, and one knocks the other to the floor, then we choshish and tzivdin the fula because it does it. It's not trying to stand up; it's trying to run. And we'll see a little bit more in a second. Yud shor sher bitzuhu l'shchita. Okay, now a shore which you lay down for shchita. Now again, the shchita by behema, by shchita has to be done, not by oath, but by behema has to be done with the animal lying down on the ground with its neck up. Because otherwise, if the neck is down, then we saw in the earlier simanim that we're choshish for drusa. When you're doing the shchita, then it's going to be put pressure. It's not going to be. It's not going to be, Melchamevi. It's going to be, it's going to be a Doris set on top. It's going to be, and that's how I cut the simanim, because there's pressure. So therefore, you have to lie it down on the floor. Now the mice is that there's different ways, different things, different ways to do it, and I don't know, whatever. One of the shilas to discuss is can you just for drusa, for a shchita, if they take a rope or something and they keep its neck up so it doesn't put pressure. Ish matirim, ish not. But let's say you don't have that, and let's say you're doing. We'll get to how they do it nowadays. And you want to get the cow to the floor, right? So you can't just exactly pick up the cow and unlike a sheep and stick him down. You have to push him down. Big sound effects, moo, whatever you hear, it's screaming. Ein choshishin lo, and that's not nefula. Mipnei sheno it's siparnav umischazek ad shebegiya la'aretz. If it tries to steady itself somehow, tries to steady itself in some way until it hits the ground, knows it's hitting the ground, and it sees that they're trying to push him down, even if it's not happy about it. But akopanim, it slows itself down before it hits the ground, and therefore it won't be in the fula. That's as long as they don't tie all four of his legs together before they push him down. If Raglav Shurim B'Shah Shemapilim Oisai. If all his legs are tied together when they push him over, Choshin because he can't be no Tziparnov, he can't go ahead and he has no control over his fall, and therefore Choshish for Nefula. That's just like in Siftes, that the animal is not going to go ahead, the ram is not going to go ahead and noitz Tziparnov because it's running, right, and it's not trying to fall, and it's hoping to knock the other animal down. So then, in that case, or even it's not running, if they're just they're just menachim, even if they're just fighting or whatever. The point is they're not expecting to be knocked over. They're not expecting to knock the other animal over. How they go ahead and how they put the animal down nowadays is okay. There's different things, so there's different issues. I don't think that they don't let them just like knock them down because that's I think it's considered animal cruelty. I don't know, whatever. So I've seen a video where they have a machine where the animal goes into like a big container or something like that with its head out, and it swivels him around so he's upside down. So then you don't have a problem in the fula over there because he he's not even falling to the ground. Now there are other, just to bring up a couple other issues in modern day shchita, because of obviously private shchita and stuff and whatever. The best way to do it is again to knock it to the ground and lie him on the ground. That's the minig kadmoinim, but because of different rules and laws and whatever. So so there's other issues about stunning them. Discussion about Moshe has a tshuva about if you that want to gas the animal with anesthetic before doing shchita. Can they do that? So he says, bikaron, if they would gas the animal and then if they would let it be after a certain period of time, it would get up and wear off and would get up and walk around and walk away. So that would be okay. Just it's not. He says, but you don't get it could be it's mutter, but like don't get that these xeris of xeris of Rishonim. The Shiloh might have been before he left Europe. I think either it was from the communists or the Germans. I don't know, whatever. The Shiloh came to him, but upon him. Because in Germany, Nazi Germany, they started with the idea that you have to stun them. Now, what's stunning? I'm not going. But what's considered stunning by the goyim? So they used to just take a large, mallet or something and smack it on its head, thinking, okay, that's going to stun it, and then you could go ahead and slit its throat. Yeah, that sounds much more humane. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. So in the U.S., what they were trying to require is they shoot it with some sort of bolt. Now, again, I don't understand. According to studies, and they did study, even if shechita is not, obviously it doesn't revolve, and it's not Kodesh Baruch Hu did not, that's the Tami HaTorah, and it's, however it's done, and it's not because of Tzavra Chaim, but it's still. Studies do show. There are a bunch of studies who do show that it doesn't feel. It's Avukopanim. It doesn't feel so much pain. Avukopanim. It's not worse than any of these things. Or electric shock. They do electric shock, which can stop the animal's heart, which you just make into a nevela. It's not treifos, it's just straight nevela. Now the other issue would be, I was wondering, is that even if you gas the animal, or let's say you figured out a certain amount of that you could stun it with electricity and it doesn't cause any problems, whatever. The question is, if it falls to the ground, also the shayla of the pula, right? That if it fell to the ground, then it could be a shayla of treifos besides the shayla of nevelis. Most of these xeris don't stem from actual concerns about being humane. It's more concerns about, the Jews are doing shechita, and we want to, like in Nazi Germany, it wasn't really about being humane and whatever. It was about other other issues. Al Kapanim. Yud Aleph, Kofza Midaita. If the animal jumped by itself, the feeling makom gvoa harbe, even if it jumped from a high place, even though we see that it can't walk, we're not choshish for it. Loshna kofza michalon shebekoisel, it doesn't make a difference. Let's say it was a goat that jumped out the window. Loshna maruba shebeemsa gag, it was on the roof and it dove down, through the skylight into the house. It doesn't make a difference how far up and down it is, because the reason is because the animal has an instinct, has no instinct to go ahead and commit suicide. There's no instinct like that by animals. Even if they say, no, even lemmings, they say it was just a it was a fake out. They actually took the film. They pushed them off the cliff. They don't really do that. Some of them might fall off, but they don't actually jump off the cliff. It was like a famous video, and in order to they pushed them off, whatever. So animals don't have a natural instinct for suicide. So the truth is, therefore, if it's jumping down, it probably can go ahead and catch itself to fall. Even if it hurt itself, it made a mistake or whatever, but it's not like it fell midaito, was pushed off, whatever. If you left it on top of the roof, I don't know, whatever it is, and you found it like lying down on the floor, because we're not rechoshesh. If it jumped, then it can jump, and it won't ruin its insides. Yebeiz ganavim sheganvu behema mehadir, ganavim who stole a behema from the corral or whatever, the pen. Afilu hishlichu me'ever legeder. They stole a lamb and they threw it over the fence. Gavoa me'od. Ein choshishim. If they're not choshish for Treifos, shehem mechavim lahapila al masneh. They're not trying. The point of them stealing the animals, they can use it, not to kill it. So so there's no point. So they're going to do it carefully. The point is that it should land. They should They want to break its legs. They want to be able to. They want to carry it. They want to be able to make it run before them. And when they bring it back. So if Rosh Hashanah is in a week and a half and they got to do tshuva and they're bringing the animal back, then muteres the point is that they want to go ahead and they're going to go ahead and throw it, so not so that it gets hurt. The police force them to go ahead and bring it back, because then they won't be so careful that maybe they're trying to shechter, who knows what, whatever. So so maybe they threw it back in. I don't know. Good question. Maybe they threw it back in, and now we're saying if it's bachos tshuva, they threw it back in. So then they weren't, obviously they're not trying to go ahead and hurt it, but if they threw it back in because they saw the police, quickly throw it back in, then at that point they don't care what happens to it, because they're not trying to lead it away, they're afraid for themselves, so they throw it back in, they don't care. Nontes, hagluda, asura, v'hi shenishat ora, the skin is flayed off. Bein bidei adam, bein bidei choli, whether it's adam or choli, treifa. If there's a rochav sela, a strip of hide, which is still kayem, apnei kol shedra by the spine, rochav sela ala tabor, and the bottom by the tabor, by the belly button, whatever you want to call it, is also a strip of hide. Rochav sela al roshe everehab. And there's some by the tips of the legs and the backside, I don't know, whatever, rezu, the mouth, rezu muteres, then it's mutter. V'im nital karoichav sela me'alkol gave ashedra. Well, let's say the opposite. There was the skin was peeled off, or me'al tavor, in these three places, they were peeled off. Right, v'shakol or kayim chera. But don't think whoa, because it's not like by the liver, where these three places are the ikr and everything or whatever. Obviously, since the hide, the skin is still there, it's okay. Just because those parts are taken off. Just if those are left, so you can say it's not a treifa. However, if all three, the Ramah says, that's only where there's only one, just one strip here, one strip there. But the Ramah says if all three are torn, so then the whole, then it is a treifa if it's all taken off, flayed off, because then it does I guess this is what holds the pressure on the skin and whatever, and everything else can start. The other ore is not doesn't protect. The lashon of gluda, the Aruch Shulchan says, he said lashon of gluda means that even if doesn't mean that it's like that you see it's like the muscle or whatever, because even if the skin was flayed off in some sort of like krum, some sort of like membrane, like it grows over the the whole skin. He said the lashon gluda means a scab. So even if a scab, it turns like even if it grew a scarred tissue over the whole animal. And okay, fine, it's fine right now. It's still nechshav gluda, and it's still treif, and it's also beis ha'ov shenitla notzasel kshera. But a bird who was plucked while it was alive is kosher. Hagav yesh oiser. Some say it's also tov lahachmir in naflu kulam. If all the feathers are off, then because the protection's not there, it's better to be machmir. Miu in naflu neisesav meirav shuman. It was a very fat bird or a goose. They stuffed the goose or whatever. It's not because of illness or something like that. It's because it's very fat, and therefore it has its own protection of fat, and it's okay. Samech. That Hatif and Nafla Machashuman, or Elishu Machshir Bechol. It's still. He said it could be. It's even more because it shows that it's problematic. But Afal PK, that's it's fine. Samech, the Achuzas Dam, animal that has like a big, huge welt, or it some sort of blood disease or something like that. If Shenet. It didn't smoke, but it was it was smoked alive, right? I don't know if it means you can get it was in the fire. Inhale smoke, yeah. Doesn't mean that it was trying to smoke the meat alive. Inhale smoke. Or it got frostbite, right? It doesn't mean that I got a cold, a runny nose. It means it got frostbite. That it's that it can't feel its extremity, whatever, frostbitten. Or it ate something poisonous to an animal. I don't know, bisley, I don't know, whatever. Or drank bad water, raising muteris. It's mutter. Now the it doesn't mean it's even if it ate poison, it's not a treifa. The reason it's muteris is because even if you eat its meat, a human eats its meat, then it's no danger. It's not a treifa. If it eats poison, it's not a treifa. If it's a poison, that won't harm a human. Like I said, if an animal, like you say in the zoo, don't feed the animal bisley. I don't know, whatever, it could kill it. So an animal eats bisley, and then you go ahead and shecht it, whatever. So it could kill the animal, but it's only misukenis. Hagav v'hema shenitzpatna v'dvarim asurim. An animal that only eats dvarim asurim muteris, even though it's completely, it's stuffed with dvarim asurim, it's still muteris. But if its whole life it's only given dvarim asurim, which would be like orla and things like that. Obviously, not talking about treif meat. So then it's still mutter. Then it would be nechshav aser. The poskim said even if the meal or whatever it is wormy, that's okay. That's not called eating from treifos. It's only if it's like actual like orla and other types of other types of stuff. Beis achlos salamavish other. And they say if you got fed dry masurim, if it wait maybe 24 hours, then you don't have to be machbir. Beis achlos salamavish other. If it ate something poisonous to people, or hikisha nachash or got snake bitten, or yotzibel materis mishum treifa vasur mishum sakanas nefashos. Because maybe you're eating, maybe you got into the basar and your person eats the chas v'shalom and it could die. He could die. Gimel behema o chaya shenifsaku ragleha. If it can't walk, like its legs are gone or whatever, it can't walk. Lo yuchlu memena ede bedika. We have to check it. Sheish lachos shema nashcha nachash. Maybe the reason why it can't walk. The reason why it can't walk is because it got snake bite. You go ahead that you roast it. Don't eat it unless you roast the meat. If it was because that the venom messed up its muscles and all these things or whatever, tisparek v'tipol chatichos, then when you're roasting it, it's going to start falling apart. Because it shows that the muscle itself is getting dissolved from the venom or whatever. We're not choishesh for mayim megulim. We'll see a bit later. Why? Because the nachash aren't mitzuyim. Don't worry about. You don't stop to choishesh for a snake. If this just lying down, if the legs are not in a way that it comes to treifa, mutter below bedika. However, the Shiloh asked was, what if you go ahead? The Tshuva asked, what if you go ahead and you go trying to catch a bird from the wild? So snakes are motzui. Now the Lamai says that in the Chazon Ish held that a person should be makbid for mayim megulim in Eretz Yisrael because snakes are motzui, and it's much more motzui because you're in the desert. In Europe, there weren't matzori, so the Chazon Ish was makbid. Kanievsky was also makbid. Obviously, when Bnei Brak was settled, this country was settled more. The Taka were snakes all around. The truth be told, around Beit Shemesh over here, there are snakes for matzori. The snakes were often people find snakes.
There was one on the street 3 months ago.
Right, and poisonous snakes. Okay, we'll get to mayim megulim in the Hilchos Sakana, at some point. But it could be a question is if you have a cow, it could be if it's not walking, whatever. This person should be choishesh. There's what to be choishesh, but I'm not sure. Adkan Hilchos Treifos and.